In Season 3 of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. The 10 great saints were finally introduced to the series, but they were barely explained in the anime, so in today's video, I wanted to provide a more detailed breakdown on them so that we can learn about their origin, how the group was first established, their history and individual story of each member. As usual, this video will contain spoilers for the light novel, so here's a spoiler warning just in case. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well, it really helps. To start, the 10 Great Saints is an elite military unit in the Holy Empire Lubelius, comprised of the 7 strongest crusaders in the Holy Knight Order and 3 of the Battle Sages from the Pope's Imperial Guards, and the roster includes Hinata Sakaguchi, the leader of the unit, then followed by the Crusader Captains, the Child of Light Leonard, the Saint of Space Arnaud Baumann, the Saint of Earth Bacchus, the Saint of Water Litus, the Saint of Fire Gerald, and the Saint of Wind Fritz. And representing the Battle Sages we have Saare of Blue Sky, Grigori the Boulder and Glenda of Raging Sea, but I'll go over them in more detail later in the video. For now, the 10 Great Saints was first established by Demon Lord Luminous Valentine as a means to encourage the growth of her human subjects to potentially awaken as saints and to find candidates to become chosen heroes, but she also did this to bolster her own military strength as well. Now, to first explain what are saints, they are considered to be the second highest evolutionary stage for the human race, and people are only able to evolve into one after they have broken through their mental and physical barriers to fully ascend to a spiritual state, and this will not only increase their overall lifespan, but their energy level as well, which puts them at least on the same level as true demon lords or other awakened beings. In addition to that, saints also have stronger souls, which allow them to have the potential to acquire or manifest ultimate skills, but it does depend on the individual, and the main drawback for humans is that the transition into a saint is very time consuming, normally taking a few days or weeks to acclimate into their new spiritual form, unlike monsters or margins, which takes maybe a few hours to complete. And in some special cases, if a saint possesses the spirit of light and is loved by all the elemental spirits, they'll be able to manifest a hero egg, which in turn allows the holder to awaken into a chosen hero. That's why Luminous created the 10 Great Saints to promote this growth, and she even handed the responsibility of their training to the 7 Celestial Sages, who were still considered to be quite powerful during that time, but because they became greedy and corrupt, they never produced any credible results and chose to either neglect their students or outright eliminate potential candidates that could awaken into saints, such as Salomon and Albert. It was for this reason that the 10 Great Saints were only called saints in name, and they were simply at the enlightened level, which is the preceding evolution to a saint, although by season 3, Hinata along with Saare were the closest to achieving this stage as incomplete saints, meaning they were still evolving into semi-spiritual beings but still haven't fully acclimated their physical bodies into spiritual form. Regardless, the 10 Great Saints were still considered to be quite strong when compared to the average human, and could at least stand against Demon Lord seed level threats like Clement, Carrion or Frey, especially after Hinata took over the Western Holy Church and completely reorganized the organization by using the knowledge she stole from the 7 Celestial Sages to train members of the 10 Great Saints herself. And because Hinata not only held the position of commander in the Holy Knight Order but was also the head knight in the Pope's Imperial Guards, it became easier to consolidate and integrate both military divisions into a more cohesive organization, which is the main reason Luminous had her serve as the leader of the 10 Great Saints, since another purpose of that group was to help facilitate better communication along with improving the relationship between both divisions, as they have very volatile interactions. It's also why they will normally have a meeting once a month to prevent further misunderstandings and friction. Now, having explained the background behind the 10 Great Saints, in regards to their overall history, it's unknown how long they have been in active service for the Lubelius military, but they are officially disbanded following the events seen in season 3 of the anime, because after Gerald was confirmed to be dead and with the 3 Battle Sages deserting the order, they lacked the qualified individuals to fill in the positions. However, the remaining member of the 10 Great Saints simply return to their roles as captains in the Crusaders, and they occasionally appear in the later parts of the story. Even the 3 Battle Sages had some screen time as well. For example, during the Temple's Founders Festival, Hinata made a deal with Rumpai to allow the Crusaders to train inside Ramrus's labyrinth, so the captains often visited temples with their subordinates to challenge the labyrinth, and the furthest they made was floor 79 when it first opened for business. But when Rumpai introduced the 10 labyrinth lords, they became stuck at floor 60 as they were constantly lose to the Death Knight Albert, who used to be regarded as the strongest Temple Knight 100 years ago. In addition to that, the captains were even invited to give lectures on combat and magic in the Temple's public school. But besides that, in volume 10 of the light novel, when Grandpa Rosso attacked Lubelius, 3 of the former 10 Great Saints, the Leonard, Arnaud Baumann and Litus tried to stop him, but they were defeated and left incapacitated for the remainder of the crisis. And not long after, during the Eastern Empire's invasion on the Western nations, the Crusaders, including the captains, were all called back to Lubelius to prepare their defenses in case the demon lord Dagru attacks them. Although Bacchus was present in Ramros's labyrinth, so he had participated in the fight against the Imperial army. Furthermore, in Volume 19, when the World Conference held in the Kingdom of Ingratia was attacked by Phantom King Feldway, Leonard, Arnaud, Bacchus, Letus, and Fritz were helping to coordinate the evacuation efforts. Even Glenda was present to help fight against Feldway's forces. Lastly, their latest appearance will be in Volume 21, right after Luminous had announced to the world about the impending invasion from the cryptid race, so Hinata will be leading the former 10 Great Saints, including Saare and Grigori, who have been avoiding her all this time, to join the international coalition force they will be defending the Heaven's Tower. And it's worth noting that at this point in time, many of the former 10 Great Saints have grown stronger as well, like Saare being the only one to awaken into a saint, achieving a threat level rank of Special S, along with an estimated existence value of 1 million. On the other hand, we have Leonard, Arnaud, Grigori, and Glenda, who were able to increase their overall threat level to the S rank, while also improving their existence value to around 500,000. As for the remaining members, Bacchus, Letus, and Fritz, they remain at the Special A, although their existence value was slightly increased to almost 300,000. In any case, moving to talk about the individual members of the 10 Great Saints, we'll only focus on the 9 members because I've already covered Hinata in her own character breakdown video, so if you're interested in learning more about her, feel free to use the links in the top right corner or the description down below. Now, starting with the Child of Light, Leonard Zester, the Vice Commander of the Holy Knight Order and one of the 10 Great Saints, considered to be the 4th strongest in the group, losing only to Hinata, Saare, and Arnaud Baumann. But regarding his past, before he joined the Western Holy Church, he was originally from the Kingdom of Ingratia, and one day, when the small nation that he was staying in was attacked by Demon Lord Roy Valentine, Hinata came to the rescue of the people, and seeing how she was able to single-handedly push the Demon Lord back, Leonard became mesmerized by her swordsmanship and bravery, so wanting to emulate her. He decided to train with the sword as well as studying to master spiritual and elemental magic because it was difficult for foreigners to immigrate to Lubelius, so he needed all the advantage he could gather. He was eventually accepted into the Western Holy Church as an apprentice knight where he learned holy magic, and after mastering that too, he was assigned to become a holy magister, a special job only reserved for individuals who were highly capable and proficient in the use of spiritual, elemental, and holy magic. Although it's worth mentioning that he was described to be a magic swordsman, someone who possesses both the skills of a mage and a swordsman, allowing him to rise through the ranks to earn a place beside Hinata, the person he admired the most. Also, Leonard was given the title Child of Light because he was able to form a contract with the Spirit of Light, which was quite significant because only those who have a pure heart and the potential to awaken into a chosen hero are able to achieve such a feat. That said, after the 10 Great Saints was disbanded and having discovered the truth behind Luminism, Leonard continued to serve under Hinata because his loyalty lied with her and not the religion, but his story mostly ended after the Temple's Founders Festival, although he does occasionally appear later in the story alongside the other Crusaders in some of the events I mentioned just now. Next is Arnaud Baumann, the leader for the other 5 captains of the Crusaders, and not much is known about his past life, but we do know he is regarded to be the 2nd strongest in the Holy Knight Order and the 3rd strongest in the 10 Great Saints, losing only to Hinata and Saare respectively. And what makes him strong is the fact that he was loved by the 5 elemental spirits, which meant that he is capable of wielding fire, water, earth, wind, and light magic. And similar to Leonard, he deeply respected Hinata and is very loyal to her. That's why he couldn't let her go to temples alone during the Saint Monster confrontation, despite being ordered to stay back in Lubelius. Also, his fight with Benimaru will be elaborated on in volume 8.5 of the light novel, revealing that Arnaud was initially confident in defeating the Margin, believing his swordsmanship skills to be better, but in reality, Benimaru was just toying with him and was simply treating the battle like exercise. And when Arnaud realized the difference in their abilities, he was forced to use his strongest technique, Aether Break, a powerful slash that combined the powers of the 5 elements to hopefully defeat Benimaru. However, the attack was easily countered by Benimaru, which broke Arnaud's confidence, so he surrendered like we see in Season 3 of the anime. Now, following the reconciliation meeting between Tempest and Lubelius, Arnaud was assigned to serve as a representative for the Holy Empire and will be permanently stationed in the Monster Nation alongside Bacchus to help facilitate communication. And during the Founders Festival, he attended the party as the attaché to Luminous, was pretending to be a servant, which obviously made him nervous because he was afraid of offending her, but the dynamic was hilarious. With that said, much like Leonard, he rarely appears again later in the story aside from the examples that I mentioned earlier. Then we have the Saint of Earth Bacchus, a captain in the Crusaders as well as being one of the 10 Great Saints, and like his title implies, he has made a contract with an Earth Elemental, so he specializes in the use of Earth magic and he wields a magic-infused holy mace as his weapon of choice. But not much else is known about his character aside from being described to be a quiet and stoic individual. That said, he was also one of the people who accompanied Hinata on a journey to Tempest, where he ended up fighting the Biscuiteer Sophia, and it was revealed in volume 8.5 that he was the only one from the Crusader side who managed to force a draw with his opponent. And after the battle, Bacchus was assigned to be the liaison between Tempest and Lubelius alongside Arnaud, so he eventually moved to the Monster Nation. And his most notable appearance following the same monster confrontation would be during the Eastern Empire's attack on Rumpai Labyrinth, where Bacchus bravely defended the people of Tempest against the Imperial Guardian Jiwu, and even though he was killed by her, Bacchus was later resurrected by Rumpai because he was inside the labyrinth. Continuing on with Litus, the Saint of Water, she's mainly a healer and spirit wielder capable of summoning the holy water spirit Undyne to battle, which has around the same level of strength as Ifrit, estimated to be at the special A threat level. Because of this, she was able to earn a position as one of the Crusader captains, along with becoming a member of the 10 Great Saints. Now, during the events of Season 3, she was sent to investigate Tempest beforehand and was one of the people who remained skeptical about the monsters even after seeing the prosperity in their nation. However, she would completely change her opinions when she accompanied Hinata on a journey to Tempest and saw more of what the Monster Nation had to offer, especially after a fight with Soulware. It definitely awakened something inside of her, which is why she became so obsessed with Soulware. Jokes aside, not much is known about her, and she continued serving the Crusaders in the background of the story while occasionally reappearing in the moments I talked about just now. Anyways, the last two members of the 10 Great Saints from the Crusader side were the Saint of Fire Gerald and Saint of Wind Fritz, and for Gerald, much like his title, he's a fire user who wielded the flame spear, but sadly for him, he will be murdered by the 7 Celestial Sages and his identity was taken by the Fire Sage Ars. The only thing we know about him is that despite his hot temper and serious attitude, he deeply cares about his fellow Crusaders and will never endanger them for any reason. That's why Leonard was surprised by his behavior when they were facing Shion in Season 3. Having said that, Fritz on the other hand specializes in wind magic, and he was considered to be the most unusual because of his fighting style and demeanor, using twin swords which was quite unconventional, but also having a very laid-back attitude unlike his fellow Crusaders. But he was also the most open because he immediately recognized the benefits and influence that Tempest have provided for the surrounding cities during his journey with Hinata. Also, when he was paired to fight with the Biscuiteer Albus, Volume 8.5 revealed how he was trying to distract her with conversation so that he can land a surprise attack, but seeing how his fellow Crusaders were losing around him, he contemplated about giving up although he was still determined to try, and Albus would praise his tenacity even though he was defeated afterwards. Now, following the conflict, similar to the other Crusaders, he often participated in the training sessions in Rumpai Labyrinth, and he was also one of the special lecturers that spoke at the school in Tempest, but aside from that, he rarely appears again in the story afterwards. Having gone over the Crusaders, let's see what happened to the 3 battle sages that abandoned Lubelius, starting with Saare. And here's an interesting fact about him. He was actually one of the oldest members in the 10 Great Saints, having been part of the Pope's Imperial Guards long before Hinata had even joined Lubelius, because despite his young appearance, he had partial elven blood inside of him. This also meant that he has increased magical capacity and a stronger connection to spirits as well, so it wasn't surprising that he was only second to Hinata within Lubelius. I mean, he even came close to defeating the Demon Lord Roy by himself. However, when Hinata joined Lubelius and took away Saare's position of Head Knight, he became quite petty and considered himself as a #1 hater, although he secretly still acknowledges her strength, hence why he is willing to take orders from her despite disliking her. Nevertheless, in Season 3, he was manipulated by Glenda to deploy the Temple Knights to assist King Edward in the Farmer Kingdom's civil war, but as we all know, he was betrayed by her when they were forced to fight Diablo. And it's worth mentioning that he was one of the few known members in the 10 Great Saints who possesses a unique skill, which was called Omnipotent One and functions in a similar fashion to Hinata's Usurper, only it's geared towards copying the fighting techniques of his opponents like us rather than skills. That said, after his humiliating defeat at the hands of Diablo, Saare was too ashamed to return to Lubelius, so he exiled himself and roamed around the newly renamed Farmanas Kingdom together with Grigori, who became traumatized by the Best Doggo Ranga during the Civil War. And speaking of Grigori, not much is known about him aside from being the right-hand man of Saare and that he was called the Boulder because of his skill Immovable, which gives him the ability to harden his body to be tougher than most metals. Regardless, they both eventually became the disciples of the court magician Razem because he felt pity for the 2 former battle sages, having a kindred connection with their shame, and later he even gave them both positions as the Royal Knights of King Yom, and they spent the majority of their time training, but their confidence would be broken again in Volume 12 when Ghidorah had visited Farmanas. Basically, Saare and Grigori decided to challenge Ghidorah because the old man criticized their technique and skills, but even working together with their full strength, Ghidorah was still able to easily defeat them. So after another humiliating defeat, it's unknown what they did in Farmanas, but they're able to finally meet Rumpai for the very first time in volume 18, when he was traveling around the various countries to monitor their defenses just before Phantom King Felway launches its global war. Saare and Grigori apparently wished to serve Rumpai as the lowliest of subordinates because they wanted to improve themselves by training with stronger individuals, so he brought them back to Tempest where they were assigned to train with Apito inside the labyrinth. They even occasionally help Hakurou to spar with the other World children of Class S, and their latest appearance will be in volume 21 of the light novel, where they are reunited with Hinata once again to help lead the Pope's Imperial Guards in the upcoming battle against the cryptids, but even though they were scared of her, she was surprisingly uninterested in them. Now, the last person to talk about is Glenda Atlee, the Raging Sea, who was able to become a better sage after she defeated the previous title holder Lamar. But she doesn't actually care about Luminism, rather she only joined the 10 Great Saints because she was ordered to do so by the Rosso family, although she did find the authority and freedom that comes with the position to be enjoyable. And the reason she is working for the Rosso family is because she was an otherworlder summoned and bound by a curse to serve them, and due to her experience in the previous world working as a mercenary, she was extremely talented in military combat and assassination techniques. But not only that, the fact that she acquired a unique skill sniper made her into quite a useful tool for the Rosso family, and she was able to live a relatively good life because of it, even being assigned to lead the Blood Shadow, a private military unit serving under the Rosso family that is comprised of other worlders who have all been turned into mindless killers through inhumane experimentations. On a side note, to briefly explain her unique skill, it enables her to manipulate the spaces between 2 points so that she can teleport any projectiles no matter the distance to her intended target, as long as it is within her eyesight, allowing her to perform assassinations from a safe distance and avoid detection. In any case, following the failure in the Farmer Kingdom's civil war, Glenda returned to the Rosso family because her identity has been exposed, so she will stay hidden until the events of Volume 10, where she was ordered by Grandpa Rosso to assassinate Prince Elric of Ingratia because he wanted to ruin Rumru's image during the Western States Council meeting by framing him for the crime. However, her assassination attempt failed and was soon tracked down by Silver, which forced her to engage him in battle. And Glenda did surprisingly well against him. She even manages to defeat one of his clones by using her strongest attack, Warp Bullet, where she will fire a barrage of bullets infused with magic and then instantly teleporting the projectiles to hit him from all sides. Unfortunately for Glenda, she was soon surrounded by more clones, and Soe will capture her for interrogation. She was then brought to meet Rumpai, and Hinata was also present because she wanted to find out what happened to Saare and Grigori, as well as the reason behind Glenda's betrayal, but she couldn't provide any proper answers to their questioning due to the summoning curse of the Rosso family. And funny enough, Rumpai along with Hinata were able to piece together the information they needed on the Rosso family simply with the minor answers given by Glenda, which causes her to start panicking because she knew that her usefulness was gone. Luckily for her, Rumpai is a benevolent slime, so it releases a curse and allowed her to walk free, but knowing her own reputation in the underworld and the western nations, Glenda begged Rumpai to hire her in exchange for everything she knows. Rumpai decides to accept her proposal and put her under Soe's intelligence organization Dark Shadow. Furthermore, Glenda was later introduced to the other executives of Tempest as well, even brought to meet with Kaijin and Kurobe, because Rumpai hoped they could reproduce a pistol which was a water P99, as well as creating ammunition for her. As for what she did in Tempest, she mostly uses her knowledge and connections to the underworld to help gather information for Soe's intelligence network, but when Rumpai, Almassia and Milmouse founded the Three Drunk Sages, a secret society whose goals were to stabilize the underworld and fill the power vacuum caused by the collapse of the Rosso family, Glenda was reassigned to pose as the leader of the group while the true founders control everything from behind the scenes. Also, Glenda was given command of the Musketeer Corps, the private military company of the Three Drunk Sages. It was made up of less than 100 members, each with the combat abilities of at least rank A, and they were highly skilled in the use of various projectile weapons. But what made them special was the fact that they are equipped with all the top secret prototype weapons developed by Tempest, such as rocket launchers and handheld Gatling guns, and Glenda will lead them into battle in Volume 19 when Phantom King Felway attacked Ingratia with his forces. That said, after the battle, Glenda doesn't appear in the story again, so it's unknown if she will participate in the defense against the cryptids, or that she has returned to Tempest for some other mission.
待たせたわね。それでは始めましょう。
But yeah, that was everything on the 10 Great Saints, their creation and history throughout the series, and despite being disbanded early on in the story, a few of the members still seem to passively affect the series whether we notice it or not, which is honestly just amazing writing, since this definitely helps to make the world and characters feel more alive. So who is your favorite member of the 10 Great Saints? And I noticed that the 3 Battle Sages got a lot more exposure as compared to the other members, but what do you think of this? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button for more anime breakdowns in the future. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe everyone.